Hi everyone, Tom Vogel, Wrestling's finest PC pro wrestling game. Hope everybody's doing well. This video with Wrestling's finest pro wrestling PC game is going to be one of the more technical ones. I am going to discuss the proper way and then some philosophies here on 2 out of 3 fall matches. Before we get started, just so full disclosure, I'm not a huge fan of 2 out of 3 fall matches, only because just kind of the way they were booked in real life just kind of made me cringe. Meaning the booking had to try to keep the suspense of the match up and also the anticipation of a possible title change. I've done a tremendous amount of research on 2 out of 3 fall matches, and very rarely, I mean rarely, did you ever see a heel champion lose the first fall by DQ or count out, or have the first fall end in a double DQ or a double count out, which it actually results in each wrestler being charged with losing, a fall. The reason for that is, and there are exceptions to this, and you can play it the way you want, but I was always under the belief that in order for a champion to lose his title, he had to either be pinned or forced to submit in 2 falls. So which would mean if he gets disqualified in the first fall, gets counted out, or it's a double DQ or a double count out, that was his first loss. It was now impossible for him to lose the title because he wasn't pinned or forced to submit twice. Now, others may argue that it was the deciding fall that determined if he maintained his title or not, meaning if he was disqualified in the first fall, and let's say then he got pinned in the second fall, he would then lose the title because he lost 2 falls, and the deciding fall of the match was a pin. Had he been pinned in the first fall, lost by DQ in the second, of course he wouldn't keep his title under any circumstances. So, with that being said, I'm also on the opinion that any wrestling game out there, Wrestling's Finest or any other one, you have to make modifications in a 2 out of 3 fall match. You cannot have the same rules and parameters set up in a 2 out of 3 fall match that you would in just a 1 fall match. It can't be done because you're not going to capture the feel of a 2 out of 3 fall match. For example, Dory Funk Jr., legendary NWA champion, defended against Jack Briscoe hundreds of times. If you put those two in a 2 out of 3 fall match without any modifications, then you are going to see quite a few matches are going to end in a 60-minute draw with no falls being won by either wrestler. Did that happen in real life in a 2 out of 3 fall match? I did not find any results of that ending. What I would find is that you'd have many one fall where maybe Briscoe got a pin in the first fall and then they went to 60 minutes with no other falls won by either wrestler, or you'd see each wrestler win a fall. I saw a lot of those, and I saw a lot of 3 fall matches where in the end Dory Funk always walked out with his title. So without making modifications, you're not going to be able to accomplish the realism goal. So when we get all set up here, you'll see what I mean. But for now, Gary and I always chuckle, and I don't know why. I think because they were in both last name with an A. For several years now, whenever I play test new features or anything, I always use the Brian Adias face rating and the Chris Adams heel rating. I honestly don't know why, other than they're right at the top. I don't have to scroll. I just click, and I got them. Not particularly a fan of either one, but they're just who they are. So here's who we're going to use. These will be the 2 we use in this video demonstration. So you see I clicked defend the title because Chris Adams is a heel. We got a title match. He is the champion. I am going to actually control him, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. We have Brian Diaz as the face. I set the pre-match to never for Diaz because he doesn't want to jeopardize anything bad happening to him when he's challenging for a title, and the faces don't have the best probability of success when they do a pre-match attack. I'll be choosing it for Adams since I'm controlling him. Time limit is 60 minutes. Now here's the key. Click this 2 out of 3 fall match because that will trigger what I'm going to show you next. So we'll click OK. I just want to make sure title, defend, Adams, champion, face, never, controlled by computer. We're good to go. So we go here. Adams will be defending the title. Now, what's going to happen here, first thing I want you to look at real quick is the pre-match attack. In a previous video, I talked about this. Whenever the computer controls one or both wrestlers, be sure you click the pre-match button, because that will kind of let you know if either wrestler, if they're both controlled by the computer, is going to want to do an attack prior to the match start. Now you'll notice I can't check Diaz's name because the computer is deciding, and it made the decision that he does not want to attack. I could click Chris Adams if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. So we're going to click OK. Now what you're going to see here is tells you everything about the match. Okay, what I did click, I had paused it to shoo a cat away, is bugging me. The Great Kabuki, our cat, being just like the heel Great Kabuki, had to throw him out of here. What I did do was I selected Tourney DQ Rules for both wrestlers. Now, quick discussion on that. I don't know if I had made a video on that or if we had just discussed it at our forum, but Tourney DQ Rules, my official position is they should only be used in a tournament and a 2 out of 3 fall match. Reason you shouldn't use them in other matches is because if you do, face wrestlers will not get disqualified as often as they should. I erred in my thinking for a long time that faces were not DQ'd very often. That is very, very wrong, and I was shocked how often face challengers to a title get disqualified. So if you select Tourney DQ Rules and, let's say a title match, for the challenger, you're not going to get the realism that, I hope everybody wants to get. I know that's my goal. Reason I say 2 out of 3 fall matches, very simple. I don't want to see DQs occur in the first fall. I know they're going to occur, but I'd like to limit them as much as possible just because in real life you just did not see them happen. The other suggestion that I'm going to highlight all this at the very end is that in 2 out of 3 fall matches, I suggest you control the heel, mainly because it's just really one reason. When the computer decides to call for outside help, when it makes the decision, what it looks at is the wrestler's third pin rating. And once a wrestler's third pin rating hits 6, the chances you have outside help greatly increase, especially if the wrestler is a champion. And in normal matches, it doesn't matter because in order to hit that third pin rating of 6, your first 2 numbers have to be 40-40. So that's why you would consider it, especially if you're a champion, because now you have a 15% chance getting pinned at 40-46. In 2 out of 3 fall matches, what you're going to see is Chris Adams's third pin rating is going to go to 6 here in a second, and that means when he's getting pinned, the computer says, oh, his third pin rating 6. We might want to consider running in and breaking this pin up and getting disqualified. And that simply wouldn't happen until he had lost at least 1 fall. So that's why I say control the heel. Now, what's going to happen here is we're going to click action first. and you're going to see 60-minute, 2 out of 3, defend the title. Chris Adams, human controlled, Tourney DQ are on for both, and we're good to go. Now, when you first time I click action, I want you to look at, it's going to be, both of them are going to have the same adjustment, but I want you to pay attention to Brian Diaz. You're going to see his 4 will go to a 6, and his submission will go to 21-19-2. So I'm going to click action, and there we got it. When you select 2 out of 3 fall match, the computer automatically adds 2 to each wrestler's third pin rating, and it adds 10 to the first 2 submission ratings and a 2 to the third. So it's like a 10-10-2. Chris Adams, when you select champion, it actually dropped his third pin rating from 4 to 3. But since we selected 2 out of 3 fall match, it actually goes back to 4 initially, then we add the 2. I might look into seeing if I want to change that. I'm just not sure yet. But so anyway, for now, you'll see both of them have very high pin ratings and submission ratings. The reason is we're trying to match real life and get some pinfalls or submissions. So I'm going to push pause here for a second, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hurry through to get to the first fall. So give me just a minute here. Okay, so I advanced it to the 7-minute mark, and Brian Diaz used a turnbuckle move, and he nailed him with a straight hard punch. So he pinned Chris Adams. So you'll see Brian Diaz wins. He has 1 win now. And now it's asking us if we want to go to fall number 2. And I'm going to click yes. Now here's what we're going to do. This is very important. Click yes. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go up to options, and we're going to adjust match settings. Now, what you do here is very important. If you don't do this, the whole 2 out of 3 thing is screwed up. You only make the adjustment for the wrestler who lost the fall. Now, if it was a double DQ or double count out or a no contest, that would be considered a loss for both wrestlers. So you would make this upcoming adjustment to both of them. In our case, it only applies to Chris Adams because he lost the fall. So what you're going to do, it's very simple. Remember, we added 2 to the third pin rating, so we're going to drop that to a 4. And we're going to take 10, 10, and 2 off. So now we're going to go to 12, 6, and 0. The first 2 pin ratings and the submission ratings here, they're based on what stamina level he's on. And Adams was still in his first stamina level when he got pinned. So his pin rating had not gone up during the match. Had he been to his next stamina level, you would have seen 34, 28, and 17, 11. So once you make these changes, you'll notice now Adams has the distinct advantage over Diaz because he gets to go basically make himself better because he lost a fall, where since Diaz has not lost a fall yet, he keeps the pre-match adjustments that were automatically made. So we click save. Now we're back into fall number 2. All right, the second fall was a real barn burner, and Chris Adams actually, as you can see there, used a foreign object and hit him with a chair shot and pinned him. So that means Chris Adams wins fall 2. So we're going to click yes, go on to the next fall. And I want you to notice here the 40-40-11. When the specialty move foreign object was used, it went to 40-40-40, but that was only temporary due to the foreign object, the chair shot. Now the game takes it back to where Diaz's pin rating was before the chair shot. And you'll notice he has 258 off in stamina, so during that second fall, he had a lot of stamina taken off, so his base pin rating now is 40-40-11. But since he's still wrestling under the pre-match adjustment, we are going to have to lower it. So we're going to go options again, adjust match settings. We don't touch Chris Adams. You only can be adjusted one time. But what we are going to do, remember, we added 2 to the third pin rating, so we're going to drop that to 9. And down here we had added 10, 10, and 2. So now we're going to make it 26, 24, 0. We're going to click save. And so now where we're at is we're in the third fall, and it's one fall apiece. And since I'm controlling Chris Adams, I had an opportunity in that second fall, or maybe, I'm sorry, it was the first fall, to call for outside help. I declined it. Had it been the computer, I believe he would have. Therefore, we more than likely would have had a disqualification on Chris Adams in the first fall, which we're trying to avoid. But again, you know, the computer doesn't know we're in a 2 out of 3 fall match, and it doesn't know that the first fall is the first fall. So that's why I think it's important and very important that when you run 2 out of 3 fall matches, you control the heel. I'll finalize that up when we're done. Let's go ahead and play this final fall because it's only 18 minutes here. Diaz with a legal chop with a throw. Looking at the stamina, both 64, 61 have a long way to go before they get to the next level. DQ check didn't happen. Low blow. Adams is going to go for an illegal pin. So we have a 40, 40, 14. So we got 1, 2, doesn't get it. What had happened, I believe, was the illegal pin said to add 5 to his first pin number, and since both the first 2 were already 40, it carried over to the 9. That's how we got the 14, if anybody cares. Going for a pile driver. 1, 2, doesn't get it. Going for, I'm not sure what we did. I wasn't looking close enough. Still doesn't get it. Guess it was a body press. Body slam. Arm hold Diaz on a little bit of a run. He's going to go for a pin. 1, 2. Doesn't get it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the pin box up here. I had moved it before, so we'll go action. Diaz speed move, nerve hold, leg drop going for a pin. Doesn't even get the 1 count. Adams with an arm hold. Several knees to while he's tied in the ropes. 5 off. Look at that. 2 more points off, and his pin rating's going to 40, 40, 19. And there it is, 40, 40, 19. Series of punches here, it looks like, or a sucker punch. 1, 2. He did. He got to the ropes. Forearm by Diaz, knee. We're 7 minutes to go. Cancel that. Adams, flying clothesline. This should be it. 1, 2. He got to the... He may have used his wisdom. Let me show you something on that, folks, as long as we're here. His wisdom rating is 6. That means he had to turn a 0 through 5. So he had basically 6 out of 100 chance of that coming up. But he did. Disqualified check. Ropes countered. We're getting to the end here. Headlock. Outside ring. Adams, large laceration on the left side of his nose. He's in trouble, but we're getting to the end here. We only got 2 minutes to go. Can one of them pull it out? Countered. Punch. Diaz countered. Do you want it to continue? Heck no. Champion wants to walk out, so we're going to click no. So in this match here, Chris Adams, they each won a fall, and third fall ended without a winner. So we have a 60-minute draw. The first 2 falls that I played while I had everybody on pause were actually, it was a very good match. So this was a good one, and this was a pretty good what do you want to call it, example of a good 2 out of 3 fall match. Now, what I talked about in the previous video that I had done on pre and post match, if the computer is controlling one or both wrestlers, you always want to click post match action, because the game right now, until you click that, it's still open ended at the end. You can leave the game and nothing happens. Say, I want to go start my next match. But if you want to put a period at the end, you click post match, and you'll see again, Adias is being controlled by the computer. It does not want to do an attack. Adams, who I'm controlling, I can select him. He wants to do an attack. So let's go ahead to see if he's allowed to. And the previous video talked about wanting to is one thing, but then you have to be allowed. So let's see if he was allowed to. Lucker, let's see. Chris Adams is not yet done with Diaz, but Diaz has other ideas. Chris Adams is tossed around the ring until he finally realizes this is not going to work and rolls out of the ring. So what that message tells you and me is that I want him to do the attack, and based on his rating combined with the Diaz's, he was allowed to. We went to the chart, and it turned out Diaz turned back the attack and sent Adams from the ring. But please watch the other video. I went in way deep depth on that to make sure everybody understands. So I'm going to close this out, but I'm just going to leave you with a couple things here. One, when you're setting up the match at the setup screen, be sure you click the 2 out of 3 fall match. Very important you do it, because if you don't, it won't be a 2 out of 3 fall match. Second of all, when you get to the main game screen, click match details, and under that you'll select Tourney Dq Rules and select it for both wrestlers. Third of all, in your match setup, let's go back to that. Be sure you control the heel, especially if he's a champion. But I would just say, control the heel or heels in the match. You'll have much more realistic results, because you will get to decide if outside help is called for. If you let the computer control it, the computer will make the call, and they don't mesh real well with the 2 out of 3 fall matches. So you control the heel, do whatever you want with the face, click 2 out of 3 falls. When you get to this screen, go under match details and select Tourney DQ Rules for both wrestlers. Then once you start the match, you'll see both wrestlers adjustment made. And let's go over this real quick here. It's going to add 2 to each wrestler's third pin rating, and the submission is going to be 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 2. Following the first fall, if whoever loses the match, or if they both lose, you're going to go under options, adjust match settings, wrestler match settings, and you're going to reduce the third pin rating by 2 for the losing wrestler. If it's a double DQ or double count out, then both have lost, so you'd adjust for both. But you reduce the third pin rating by 2, and you would adjust the first and second submission ratings. You reduce it by 10, and then you reduce the third submission rating by 2. So it's 10, 10, 2 for the submission. Once you do that, click save, then your next fall will start. If the wrestler who won the first fall now loses the second fall, you would then make the adjustment to him. You only adjust each wrestler one time. That's it. And remember, if it's a double count out, double DQ, no contest, both wrestlers are considered to have lost the match. I would suggest you play around with this, just get the feel for it. I know some of you use 2 out of 3 fall matches, and hopefully you're following this. If you're not, hopefully this gets you on track. Feel free to email me any questions. My email is TommyV33. That's TOMMY, initial V as in Victor, 33 @att.net. Please visit us at our Delphi forum. If you just type in Delphi, DELPHI forum, Wrestling's Finest, in whatever search engine you use, Delphi forum, Wrestling's Finest, it'll take you right to our message board forum where you can follow all the great wrestling worlds, join in on the discussions, even if you don't have the game. You can ask questions about the game, but feel free to chime in with comments. We love to add new people. With that, I am going to say goodbye. I hope you have a great and safe day. This is Tom Vogel, Wrestling's Finest PC Pro Wrestling Game. So long, everyone.